All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the video. Today we're going to be looking at Geau Black, and I'm just going to hop right into this review and say that this is a Belcam fragrance, so it's a knockoff of Acqua di Gio Profumo, and I'm not really familiar with that fragrance, so I've smelled it once in Kohl's, and it wasn't, I wasn't a huge fan off the initial spray, which is hard in stores because I've actually smelled this in the store just off the cap and given it a spray, and I liked it, but just in person and living with it, I'm not as much a fan, and this review is just going to be based on this fragrance on its own because I can't really speak to Profumo. And I think you could do a lot of cheapies like that because it's going to smell similar but have some alterations done because it's made cheaply. And so if you're familiar with my channel, you know I did a review on regular Geau in the clear bottle, and that is the best cheapie by far. I think the next best thing is probably going to be Nautica Voyage, but just hopping into this one, this is a heavier fragrance, and I think this fragrance is harder to do on the cheap. And just full disclosure, I typically like fresher fragrances, so I kind of like Belcam's Geau better than this just because it's more my thing. This one is not as fresh, and on the dry down, it just smells kind of basic to me and not as good. And I don't think it works for my body chemistry as well. I mean, some of the notes in Profumo are, for the base notes, it's incense and patchouli, and I think this is like patchouli heavy. It does have C notes and bergamot, and when you smell it off the cap, it smells a little bit heavier, a little bit less fresh than Geau. And I noticed that, and that was fine, but when I spray it on, I feel like I get more geranium, incense, and patchouli in the dry down than anything else. And it's just not as bright and fresh to me. So it doesn't smell bad, but it doesn't really smell good to me. I can smell that Acqua di Gio DNA in it, but it's just going to be a pass for me. I mean, even at $8, I'm still going to pass on it. As far as performance goes, I mean, it's okay. I would say like it goes about 3 hours. You'll definitely want to overspray, but I don't know, it just never, sometimes when I spray Geau, like on my skin and I go heavy, it doesn't smell great initially. And it's not necessarily the alcohol. I don't know. That one has to kind of dry down a little bit, but then it smells good in passing. You have a good sillage. It's so cheap you have to overspray, but on this one, it just never smells good to me. Like even in the air, it just smells basic. And I think on a scent like this, they did really well on Geau, and they kind of like lightning struck on that one. But on this one, I just think it's very hard to clone on the cheap. It smells super, basic and undesirable in my opinion. I haven't worn it too much just because I don't really like it. And I can just tell certain fragrances, I can tell by the sillage, I'm going to get a ton of compliments. This isn't one of them. It could be me and my skin chemistry. I don't know. The atomizer's good on this. I would say like if you're at a Walmart where they have this out and you can spray it in the air, do that, and then also spray it on yourself like right when you get to Walmart, and then do some shopping, or go around to other stores. I would give it like 2 hours on skin. I like to spray fragrances when they're available, as testers in the store on my skin and walk around and kind of periodically smell for 2 hours, because if the fragrance smells good after 2 hours, I have projection after 2 hours, and there's a good sillage or something like that, I usually think it's going to be a good scent for me. You can kind of get a feel of how it wears on your skin. It may not last. I mean, 2 hours is not a long time to have, but if it goes over 2 hours, then it's at least decent to consider. I mean, for $7 or $8, I think I paid $8 or $9 actually. It's definitely worth a try, a blind buy. But just for me wearing it on my skin, I'm not going to throw it out, but I'll probably wear it on occasion to the gym. This will more than likely be a gym scent for me because it smells better than sweat and the other odors in the air at the gym. Yeah, this one's going to be a pass for me just on the type of fragrance and just it's smelling a little basic and, one-dimensional in the dry down. And as far as age on this, I would say this is not as young as, you know, Geau. It is in a black bottle, so this is probably more of an evening, night out fragrance. I would say this isn't for like super, super young guys. I mean, you can wear it. I don't try to age restrict, but again, it's a little heavier, a little bit darker, and yeah, I'm just not a fan. All right, and lastly, the atomizer is good.